They were boys from the streets. Some were runaways. Others just trying to help their families survive. But one by one, they began to disappear. No screams, no clues, no bodies, just empty beds and grieving parents. And for years, no one knew why. The authorities dismissed the cases. Locals whispered. Families waited for answers that never came. But when the truth finally surfaced, it wasn't just the scale of the crime that shocked Pakistan. It was the method. And the man behind it wasn't a monster in the shadows. He was someone they all knew. Welcome to Passport to Death, where true crime has no borders. By the late 1990s, the bustling city of Lahore had a dark undercurrent. In its alleyways and slums, children were disappearing, quietly, invisibly. These weren't kids from prominent families. They were street children, runaways, or boys sent out to earn a few rupees shining shoes or selling fruit. They were the overlooked, the forgotten. Their disappearances rarely made the news. Some parents were too poor to report them missing. Others were told by police, "He probably ran away." But as more children vanished, panic began to grow. There was no pattern until the numbers started to tell their own story. Dozens of boys, then over 50, then 100. On December 30th, 1999, a package was hand-delivered to the offices of a major Pakistani newspaper. It was heavy. Inside were 2 letters, dozens of photographs, and articles of children's clothing. The letters were addressed to police and the media. And the sender? Javed Iqbal. In those letters, he claimed to have murdered 100 boys. 100. He included names, dates, methods. He described each murder in detail, as though he were proud of what he had done. Alongside his confession was a diary, neatly written, chronicling his crimes like journal entries. He claimed it wasn't about the children. It was revenge. He said the police had humiliated him in custody, and he wanted to show them what true suffering felt like. Javed Iqbal wasn't a drifter. He was wealthy, educated, and lived in a house with multiple rooms and privacy. He used that space for horror. According to his confession, he would lure boys in with food, shelter, or money. He promised safety. Instead, he gave them chains. He strangled them, usually with the same metal chain. Then, using vats of hydrochloric acid, he dissolved their bodies. Nothing remained but the acid and the clothes they had worn. When investigators entered his house, they found those clothes, piles of them. Shoes, shirts, pants, labeled, organized, and tagged. They also found barrels of acid, stained floors, and the chilling diary that listed every victim, 100 names. Iqbal wrote that he wanted to destroy every trace. No funerals, no bodies, just silence. People who knew him said he had always been strange. He was obsessively clean, avoided emotional contact, and became agitated when things weren't in his control. Some believe he never felt remorse, only rage, masked behind routine and order. After sending the letters, Javed Iqbal disappeared. Police were caught off guard, and panic spread quickly. The public was terrified. Hundreds of parents who had long believed their children might return were now forced to face the unthinkable. The manhunt stretched across Pakistan. His face was on every newspaper. Radio stations repeated his name. But weeks passed, and nothing. Then, out of nowhere, he resurfaced. Not in handcuffs, not in hiding, but calmly walking into a newspaper office, telling journalists he wanted to surrender. He said he had done what he set out to do. He expressed no regret. He even challenged authorities to carry out the same punishment on him. Acid, chain, and all. In March 2000, Javed Iqbal's trial began. The courtroom was packed. Media from across the world descended on Lahore. It wasn't just the crime. It was the sheer cruelty and scale that made this case unforgettable. The judge delivered a sentence that mirrored the killer's own methods. Iqbal was to be strangled with a chain, his body cut into 100 pieces, and dissolved in acid. It was a rare moment of poetic justice, brutal, biblical, but fitting. But just days before the execution could be carried out, the story took one final turn. Javed Iqbal was found dead in his prison cell, hanging from a bedsheet. Authorities declared it a suicide, but many refused to believe it. Some said it was staged to avoid a public execution. Others believed he was silenced by those who feared what he might still reveal. To this day, the truth remains unclear. His two teenage accomplices also died under mysterious circumstances not long after. Justice, perhaps, was never fully served. The story of Javed Iqbal is more than a tale of horror. It is a cautionary tale about how the most vulnerable can be ignored, until it's too late. He didn't use masks. He didn't hide in the dark. He was there, in plain sight, among them. And no one saw him for what he truly was, until it was far too late. If this story disturbed you, share it, because the victims can't speak for themselves, but we can speak for them. Until next time, stay safe out there.